Have you ever just, stopped and wondered how we all got here? I mean, not just you and me, but everything? Well, today we're going to do just that. We are diving into 4.5 billion years of cosmic chaos, biological miracles, all of it, leading right up to this moment. This is the story of our home, planet Earth.
So where do you even start a story that big? How does this epic narrative of planets, life, and, well, us get off the ground? The answer, it turns out, is written in the stars. Let's rewind the clock, way back. We're talking 4.5 billion years ago. Our story doesn't begin with a bang, but more like a whisper. It starts inside this massive, swirling cloud of gas and dust, just floating around in the endless dark of space. This cloud had a name, the Solar Nebula. You can think of it as the cosmic nursery for our entire solar system. I mean, literally everything. The sun, all the planets, even the atoms that make you, it all started right here, in this one amazing cloud. Okay, so how do you get a whole solar system from just a cloud of dust? Well, it all kicks off with gravity. The cloud starts to collapse in on itself, and the pressure in the middle gets so intense that it actually ignites nuclear fusion. And bam, our sun is born. All the leftover dust and gas then starts to swirl around, clumping together, bit by bit, over millions of years, eventually forming the planets, including our own little blue marble. But the Earth we live on today is nothing like the planet that was first born. Oh no, its early years were, let's just say, unimaginably violent and chaotic. Pretty early on in its life, a young planet about the size of Mars came screaming in and just slammed into Earth. This catastrophic collision was so huge it blasted a gigantic amount of debris out into orbit. And over time, all that rubble got pulled together by gravity, forming that familiar face we see in our night sky, our moon. This incredibly violent era has the perfect name for it, the Hadean Eon. It's named after Hades, the Greek underworld, and honestly, for good reason. The planet was a literal hellscape. We're talking molten lava everywhere, volcanoes erupting constantly, and a thick, toxic atmosphere that would have been totally unbreathable. And this really shows you the dramatic swings our planet is capable of. I mean, going from the fiery hell of the Hadean Eon to eventually swinging to the total opposite extreme, a frozen snowball Earth during a later ice age. Our planet has always been one of wild extremes. But over millions and millions of years, the planet finally started to cool down. And as it did, all that water vapor packed into the atmosphere began to condense and fall as rain. A rain that didn't last for days, but for centuries. This incredible planet-wide downpour formed the very first oceans, turning Earth into a true water world. And as we all know, with water comes the potential for life. But the first life to show up here wouldn't just survive, it would actually re-engineer the entire planet from the ground up. So after millions of years as this water world, volcanoes started pushing landmasses back up above the waves. And it's here, in the shallow coastal waters, that a new kind of life appears. These simple, single-celled organisms called Cyanobacteria. You might know them as blue-green algae. Now, these tiny little microbes did something absolutely revolutionary. They figured out photosynthesis. And as a byproduct, they started releasing oxygen. For hundreds of millions of years, they just pumped this gas into the air, triggering what we now call the Great Oxygenation Event. This was, without a doubt, the single greatest climate change event in Earth's history, and it paved the way for every complex living thing that came after. Just look at this timeline for a second. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around the sheer scale of it all. More than 2 billion years, that's nearly half of Earth's entire history, goes by between the planet's formation and the moment its atmosphere actually becomes breathable. Change, back in these days, was measured in eons. All right, so with an oxygen-rich atmosphere, life just explodes in diversity and complexity over the next billion years. And this evolutionary frenzy eventually leads us to maybe the most famous chapter in Earth's story, the age of the dinosaurs. For 160 million years, these guys were the undisputed rulers. To put that into perspective, that's 800 times longer than modern humans have even existed. From the massive plant eaters to the ferocious predators, they absolutely dominated every corner of the planet, land, sea, and air. They were powerful, they were diverse, they were perfectly adapted to their world. But they had absolutely no idea that their entire world was about to end. The real danger wasn't on Earth at all. It was coming from space. An asteroid about the size of Mount Everest was on a direct collision course. Its impact would release the energy equivalent to 1 billion nuclear bombs. It's a number it's almost impossible to really picture that kind of power.
And in what was basically a geological instant, their 160 million year reign was over. Just like that. All that's left are their fossilized bones, a silent reminder of a world that was completely lost to time. The dinosaurs' extinction created this huge power vacuum, right? And it was a vacuum that would eventually be filled by a totally new kind of animal, a species that would come to dominate the planet, not through size or strength, but through intelligence. This is our chapter. And this is where we find the great paradox of our species. On one hand, we evolved this incredible intelligence that let us understand and shape our world like nothing before us. But on the other hand, in what is just a blink of an eye in geological time, that same intelligence has unleashed just unprecedented destruction. We've managed to alter ecosystems and use up resources that took the planet millions of years to create. Our impact has been so huge, so fast, that we now find our own planet is on the brink. And because of that, we've started looking up to the stars, to places like Mars, not just with curiosity anymore, but as a potential escape plan, a plan B. Which brings us right here, to this moment, the very tip of this 4.5 billion years story. The final question, the one that our generation really has to answer, is this. Are we going to be the authors of our own extinction story? Or will we find a way to write a new chapter for life, either here or somewhere else entirely? The choice, for the first time, is ours.